factual standpoint with data, not based on propaganda, misinformation, and lies. And this evening, of course, is no different, but topic this evening, of course, has to be local government election. Yesterday, election hard fought by all parties involved after a brutal and very lengthy campaign period of some 2 months, finally came to an end yesterday, and leaving many with a bit of a surprise as to the results. There was the belief from some quarters that that the PNM, the ruling party, would not have fared well, but interestingly, they would have come out with a similar result to that of 2019, much to the delight of the supporters and, of course, the membership of the People's National Movement. While the UNC continues to try to be upbeat and to spin it in a certain way, we see there are persons from within their own ranks who are challenging the position that the party has taken, especially as they seek to hold on to the popular vote, as is the norm whenever it is the UNC is not successful in an election, or they've not received or realized the result that they've been looking for. But my guest this evening to discuss this on primary and other issues is none other than a well-known figure who requires no introduction, a patriot, I would call him, a political and social activist, coup survivor, none other than Mr. Wendell Eversley. Wendell, good evening.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, Dominic. It's nice to be on your program this evening, and as you rightly said, the real issue.
Yes.
It reminds me of Wendell with the facts, and the truth hurts.
Right.
I know a lot of people don't like to hear the facts, and they don't like to hear the truth, because they always try to debunk the truth. And always, when you put out, for instance, the real issues, and when you put the issues out there, it had those who would try to spin the issues with lies, right? And we just come out from a heated election, right? Some people thought it was a general election, because I remember in 2013, when the same opposition leader who back then was prime minister, when she lost that election, she went and started to sing and say, "I'm still the prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago." And this year, she said something different, because she said that what she's going to do, right? But I don't know she's the head of the cabinet. Right? I don't know that she have a minister of national security, and I don't know that some of the things she said, especially with offload the clip, empty the clip, stand the ground laws.
Light them up.
Yeah, light them up. So I don't know if she going tomorrow morning and call her cabinet ministers, and then after the end of the cabinet meeting, hold a press conference and say this is law. Right? So people dream. Right? It's nice to dream. It's nice to dream, but when you're dreaming, your dream must be reality. Because last night I had a dream. And my dream last night, I wouldn't say it on tonight, because sometimes your dream, you have to keep it within yourself.
Right.
But I think my dream will be reality. It will be truth. It will be facts. And it will be about the issues.
Right.
And my dream is to be one of those 41 in the next coming general election. Because I heard the Prime Minister said, now we have to concentrate on reform and the general election ahead.
Right.
And I was already preparing myself for the general elections ahead. And it will come reality.
So you're going to tell us which party you're going to?
I can't say which party. Right now you bring one, the issues, the real issues. Right? So we discussed it right now, the real issues.
Well, I have to confess that you were supposed to be on this program since the 27th of July. And there were just some things that came into play that prevented that from happening.
Well, if you notice the month of July, let's go in a different track. Right? People could hardly get me to come on the program because it has been back memories. And especially when I hear light up, empty the clip, I say, I really want to say what somebody called it the other day, MW, a mad woman, right? But I say this person not thinking rightly. And whoever wrote that speech for her, do her a real disinjustice. That person probably don't like her.
But you know, interestingly, Wendell, I heard there were some persons within the UNC who were trying to defend Mrs. Processor's position of light them up, load up the matic and so on, was saying that they don't see anything. How could you see something wrong with that?
Yeah.
And not see something wrong with Mr. Robinson's attack with full force? Do you think that is a fair comparison to make?
Mr. Robinson attacked with full force. His government,
Yeah.
his cabinet, and other MPs, including myself,
Right.
it was a attempted coup by a group of terrorists. It was attempted coup by a group of terrorists that entered the parliament chamber and held people hostages. And the prime minister back then had a decision to make.
Right.
And his decision was either he give up how he have been elected for 5 years by the people voted for him,
Right.
or rather than give in to a group of terrorists to their demands. And he said no. Right? We could always get another government. And he said, I took an oath of office, and I'm going to live by my oath of office until you all vote me out.
Right.
So he's ready to give up his life. Attack with full force.
Yeah.
And that was a cause for country. Just as how I heard Mr. Jack Warner said, Kamala Persad-Bissessar is the local Nelson Mandela. I didn't know that Kamala Persad-Bissessar spent 26 years in jail.
Yeah.
And what she spent that 26 years in jail for. And when I see people clap, I say something definitely wrong in our country where politics is concerned. And especially when it's coming from someone who you tell go and clear your name and come back.
Yeah.
And now you coming back to tell us on the eve where we celebrated Emancipation Day to hear this kind of rhetoric. Something definitely had to be wrong. That's why I make it my duty. I ain't ashamed to say it. I'm not a member of the PNM, I'm not a member of the UNC, but I did my part.
Yeah.
I make sure and tell people don't vote for them. Right? A lot of people say, how you can say that you don't belong to it. I say, but this is our country.
Yeah.
About them to say party before country. I just say country before party.
Right.
And I saw the darkest period of our country on July the 27th, 1990. Nobody didn't tell me that. You know. I was there. It was my first day in Parliament. I was held against my will. I was a human shield. Not a human shield. First in line to be killed. Right? I get beaten on my head. You see here, in the middle of my head, that's a scrap of life. Blood coming on, and I have to be going from room to room to room, opening. And then you come in to tell people about empty the clip. Who she was talking to? She was really talking about the people who going in to enter people's home, the home invasion. Yeah. She wasn't talking to them. She wasn't talking to them. And I don't know if you all remember, that's why you see, we in Trinidad, we must have stopped having short memories. Remember Umbala Joseph?
Yes.
Right? Umbala Joseph had a big, I think he was the first black man in Trinidad that had so much, a supermarket was so big, huge. He had one in La Hoqueta.
Yes.
You remember the coup?
Yeah.
You remember before that too, Umbala Joseph, it had people came in to rob and he ended up shooting a person. Right? And then after, you remember what happened to him after? With the same people who after went and terrorized his business.
Yeah. Right?
And after they come and they make his family uneasy. And what happened? What happened? He had to close down his business. Right. So it had repercussions. So she wasn't thinking about the repercussions. Right? She wasn't thinking. Just if you listen to one of our very own, I don't know if you remember of the party, but I know he was in the period of 2010 to 2015, a lawyer. I don't know if you read the article that he put out concerning standing grounds, and we have standing ground laws already enacted in the trespass. Oh, yes, and that was Jack Dale, right? Attorney Jack Dale. And so then I don't know who really, and she said she's a senior counsel. So then it comes to the well saying that she gave herself silk, right? Because I can understand a lawyer who's a senior counsel. You want a senior counsel? That's a woman with a person with so much experience in the terms of law, and you self saying you should understand the law better than you and I as layman. I just tell people I'm a senior counsel for the Fifth Estate. I'm not a person who do the legal reader, but we do a little legal reader for myself.
Right.
And I talk for the Fifth Estate because sometimes I say the people who supposed to be talking for the Fifth Estate, like they're not really fighting for the Fifth Estate. And we see that it's true. Sometimes I ask myself if our own media is independent when it comes to reporting. I heard a reporter ask a question last night that a certain political party get 30,000 votes in Diego Martin. I had a shock.
Yeah.
30,000 votes in Diego Martin. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Right? And even though the constituency of Diego Martin, you have Diego Martin Central,
right,
Northeast, and they tell how much people register to vote.
Yes.
Right? And 30,000 people don't go out and vote for sometimes they get 10,000 something, 11,000 something,
yes,
8,000 something.
Right.
But then you say, how you feel that
one
party get 30,000. I don't know who, and they do themselves check to make sure that if these things are correct. We see now people boasting about popular votes, like if they win an election. I know since our system from 1956 to now is seats that win election, not popular vote. See, plenty of people win popular votes, right? Okay then, for instance, COP got 148,000 votes, right? In 2007.
Right.
COP also came in that general election, beat UNC in 22 constituencies. 22, right? And COP in won a seat.
Yeah.
Go back to the election of 1981. ONR get how much votes? Over 90,000 votes, right? Popular. ONR had top guns. Carl Hudson Phillip was the political leader. That time he was Queen Counsel, former Attorney General, into the PNM government, right? And how much votes he get? 91. He beat ULF back then in almost, because ULF didn't fight the whole 36 seats.
Right.
Right? They used to select, ULF never fought the whole 36 seats. The only party that transformed from ULF to fought all the seats was UNC. Right? And they do that in when it was the first time Baze Pandey went by 1 seat. When they went to Bego and right? And the Robinson was the one responsible for bringing them into government with the 17-17-2.
Right.
I don't want to go there tonight, but I'm just showing you in their time with Carlos and Philip, he came second in votes, in constituencies, and he get a seat. Right? So people he could have said, well, I get popular votes more than the UNC, more than the ULF, and I get a seat. So now today people thinking like they win an election when it's a rejection to them, right? And also a wake-up call for the PNM also.
Correct, but especially when that popular vote has seen a decline from 2019 of almost 30,000 votes.
30,000, and so when you look at the thing, the both parties have homework to do.
Yes.
The both parties, and then some people don't want to understand about I win Toko Sandigwandi. Yes, but in the general election of Toko Sandigwandi, watch it. Watch and see it for who. If you go back from 1956, you see who mostly winning Toko Sandigwandi. Right? And what they fail to realize, Toko Sandigwandi also consists of Kumoto, Manzalena.
Right.
Right? Because that is a constituency by itself. How much seats from Kumoto, Manzalena fall into Toko Sandigwandi Regional Corporation? How much seats? Right? And where are the boundaries?
Yes.
And find out if some come from if one electoral district come from a river. Right? So these are the questions people must look at. These are the questions people must ask.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to Toko, when it comes to general election, Toko Sandigwandi is by itself. Right? Kumoto Manzana is by itself.
Correct.
The last time I know that Toko Sandigwandi went to a partnership, it was the partnership when Rupert Griffith in 2010. 2010, yes. 2010, Rupert Griffith. Remember Rupert Griffith with the crossing of the floor with Vincent Lash from Point 14, right? Point 14. That time Vincent Lash was the member of parliament for Point 14, and Rupert Griffith was the member of parliament for Arima. And they crossed the floor. They didn't have the crossing of the floor act back then.
I think that is what triggered the crossing of the floor.
Yeah, because they didn't have the act. Because if it had the act, right?
They would have to forfeit the seat.
Would have Patrick Manning was the prime minister then,
Yeah.
where I imposed
Yeah.
the Question of the Floor Act. No, he wasn't the prime minister, he was the opposition leader.
Yeah.
Where I imposed the Question of the Floor Act, right? And then they had trigger off an election, a by-election, just as how they did with Bonnley from St. Joseph.
Yeah.
When Bonnley said he resigned, right? Immediately she went to Wade Mark, who was the speaker then, and she called on triggering of the Question of the Floor Act.
Yeah.
And then after they had a by-election, and she lost that by-election to Terence Yalsing. Right? So these are the things. Some people, they don't do the research, they don't understand what is taking place in our parliament. Last night, I listened to some commentators who call themselves, right, on CNC3. I say, well, that are the best people at best that they invite me.
Even on TV6?
Yeah, I say best they invite me as one of the panelists and talk really, like we talk the thing, you're bringing people you could see, they're looking at the logic aspect of what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago, how they will view the election.
Superficial.
It has some of them didn't get away in the UNC, you know, and now they have them as political what?
Analysts.
Right? If you see them last night,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because they fall out of the UNC. Now they're singing a different bit here. Last night, I had to listen to one. They call him Doctor. I don't want to call his name on your program. Right? I had to listen to one, and I had to put him in a space where property tax is concerned. You're going to talk about property tax, and you're not understanding the law of property tax. And this is the misinformation that is going to bring these people, and feel these people are the brightest set of people that have in the country for you and I to listen to.
Because they have letters after your name.
Yes, and but sometimes where they get letters from, remember people get letters from university that don't exist.
Yes.
Right? And the doctors are not
false papers.
False papers. So and then after you bringing them on mornings, you bringing them in the night, and they have to come and I'm glad that person was there to correct that person concerning property tax. Right? And they don't realize that property tax is in law of Trinidad and Tobago. No matter who suspended, Kamala never said that when she was prime minister, they do not finish her with property tax.
Yeah.
She, in her last term, they were going to bring back property tax, have Minister of Finance talk about the reintroduction of property tax, and they were going to do it in a phase system. And now this is the same people say they're going to court, right, to see that. And then really going to court for fight from you and I where property tax is concerned. They know what they're fighting for because they don't want people to know who are the people and how they get it.
Yeah, but they know who to sell it to.
Yes. So, but and then after the what? The new one, what they say that how they go.
The inheritance tax.
Inheritance tax.
Yes.
You know, it's an inheritance tax. When I check in at how much countries have inheritance tax.
Yes. Yes.
So they have nothing to offer. Then after look at you listen to what they put out in the what I think is an editorial in Jamaica. And they say and they say they don't really get involved.
Yes.
And criticizing a foreign country leader, prime minister or president and thing, and they had to come down and see the danger that this former prime minister and opposition leader, what she's doing to the financial system, and want to cause a panic, and she want to feel that if this is another and you know, if you read the CLICO report, right, and if you listen to what the loan commissioner, how he described some of our very own ministers, who was directors of CLICO, right? And how we described them and how it was a feeding frenzy. And they was put as Minister of Planning under Howard, right? Under Howard. And up to now, none of them before the court. None of them before the court. And they didn't want to bring out the CLICO commission report, which took place, and it was a feeding frenzy. You heard where the loan circle man said that out of some lawyers don't even understand the banking system, don't even understand the laws concerning finance, and they have them there as lawyers in a commission of inquiry.
In fact, he described two of the lawyers who are affiliated with the US, lazy and incompetent.
Lazy and incompetent, that they don't know what they're doing. Right? And
but they were paid hefty briefs for that.
Hefty.
Yes.
And that's why I'm telling you, something definitely wrong with how we operate in this country. We have to fix it.
Yeah.
We have to fix it. And if we fix it, have to start with somebody, and we have to realize how important this country is, that people want to see this country turn upside down and thinking that they will just push back themselves inside. I think the population are more educated.
Yeah.
The population is not going by anymore by lies and people who feel they could just come and fool us and tell us that they have this support. They have the people of 2010 and 2007 and all that era.
Yeah.
All that era where we had partnership government. That era when we had partnership government, we had people of stature. We don't have that now. We don't have that now. We want to bring back people who is 80 years old and say them could save us.
But as you raise that point, Wendell, we know that in 2010, one of the things that would have attracted the population to the partnership was the fact that you had certain personalities in there who were considered to be the conscience of the partnership.
Yes.
So people are saying, well, no, we know the UNC is corrupt, but you have people like Winston Duker and Carolyn C. Prasad Beechan at that time, and Ram Logan. You had people like Vernon Dilema, Timothy Hammersmith, and all of these people who were seen to be persons of integrity.
You know, I must tell the stories too. And it's time I tell the people about what really took place and how our very own members in the COP sold us out.
Yeah.
COP is one of the first party I ever play an important role in. People just hear me say, PNM is not the PNM is the problem. I'm not a member of none of them, no, both of those parties. I play an important role. As a matter of fact, I was the first executive member, right? I've been elected when we had one man, one vote on the COP executive. And the person that I defeated was Basley Pan, the campaign manager, when I went up for the role for Secretary of Mobilization. And I won that election and mobilization. And every election we have after that, I keep winning.
Right.
I keep winning. But when we formed that election of 2010, Jack Warner was Hefe.
Right.
And people want to feel that it's because of him. Because if Jack Warner was a Hefe, he'd have won the election of 2007 for the UNC when he was a top executive member of the UNC, when he was FIFA vice president, CONCACAF president, when he used to tell us he take 4 aircraft to come to this meeting tonight, and when he leave here tonight, he had to go back to the airport to take 4 other aircraft because he had to go to other meeting to meet kings, queens, princes, president, prime minister, governors throughout the world. And that's some people who he talked to, other prime ministers in this country can himself even get a meeting with them, an audience with them.
Right.
Right? And he was Jack Warner. Right? Everybody said Jack. But in 2007 election, COP now came out.
Yes.
Beat the same UNC in 22 constituency. Right?
Yes.
22 constituency. How much seats they get? Did they win the election?
Right.
And they fought every seat. Did UNC win the election? No. Right? So Jack Warner was a Hefe that he could not.
Yeah.
Jack Warner was, when he was acting prime minister, Minister of National Security, Minister of Works, right? Minister of Works until they fire him, till they tell him go and clear his name and come back.
Yeah.
Fought a by-election, he won the by-election. I was there with Jack Warner in Shogunas West. I live in Oliver Aruka, by West, because everybody knows Jack Warner is my neighbor, and I'm going to the meetings and things. I say they give him a raw deal. But when I heard what Jack Warner said about what they're doing in the partnership, especially in the UNC, I talk about he never see Stephen, so he never see this. I said, nah, boy. And that was the treat man out. And he talk about what he did. He tell everybody, you and all, because you was parcel of his party. And what Jack Warner did in 2000, he win the by-election, right? People say that he tell them to go back and join.
And he was rejected, right?
Yes. Yeah. And then after, he went from Shogunas West, he went to Shogunas East. They say he lost, he deposited in Shogunas East. right?
Yes.
I given, you see, your what is the name of the program? The wheel is used.
Yes.
But I given them, right? Then after that, you contest the election of 2013, the local government election. You say, go not every seat. You know what happened, right? He lost. He didn't win, right? Then in 2015, he contested certain seats. He lost,
26 seats.
right? He lost Shogunas. Then in 2020, he contested Aruka, Lopino Boneres. He lost, right? So what really he paid Jack Warner is?
Yeah.
Huh? After all they say all these things about him, if Aruka reject him back, then they reject him again. Huh? They reject him again. It shows clearly, right, that it's time he should play with grandchildren.
So you think this is the last time we will hear Jack is back?
but he can't come go and tell people Jack is back.
Yeah.
Right? And then after the speech, what he gave in his return,
Yeah.
I want to praise somebody who say all kind of nasty things about him. Huh? Then I say this somebody things I can't say to your program. I will say it when I'm on my live. Right? But it shows clearly how people don't really put country first. And it's time we had to lock Trinidad and Tobago, because when we see things going on in the outside world, and we see what taking place, and we're not learning, and people just want to see that a small population of 1.5 million people, right, with a voting population of almost 1.2, and then after you want to try to see how you could get these people to break the law, but that good thing was people will really stand their ground and vote against them too, you know. And
let's stick up in there. We gotta go to a break. So we take our first break for this evening, folks. Stay locked. We will be right back, and we continue the conversation on the other side. When we come back, I want to find out from Wendell if it is he supported the decision to join this for the COP to join the partnership in 2010. So you don't want to miss it. Stay locked.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Realtor Group of Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saeed, Managing Director of Realtor Group of Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors, roti makers. Try Chic Lisha high quality, unbleached, bromate free, all purpose and whole wheat flour. Bleached flour and bromate flour is treated with chemicals that can cause cancer, and this is banned in Europe and many other countries. Chic Lisha flour offers a healthier option, being that it's unbleached and bromate free. It also has a finer grain and a softer texture, lower priced and conveniently packaged in 2 pound, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. Available at groceries and supermarkets. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Chic Lisha Limited at 665-3336 or 480-8715 or visit them at Warrenville, Canupia. Chic Lisha Limited. Quality you can trust.
The Solid Agency, the standard for artiste management and development. Booking for an exclusive roster of the region's top-rated entertainers. The Solid Agency, the standard for event execution live and virtual, including fully loaded Shaggy and Friends, New York, Nigeria, and Antigua music festivals, Burgess Long Walk to Freedom, Bounty, Beanie Versus, to name a few. Make your career or your event solid. Contact us now, thesolidagency@gmail.com. Call 1-876-469-4005. Visit solidagency.com.
Welcome back to The Real Issues with yours truly, Dominic Romain. If you're just joining us, well, you missed an interesting first half. My guest this evening, of course, is none other than Mr. Wendell Eversley, and we were having a rather spirited conversation prior to going to the break. Wendell, there's those who say that had the COP not capitulated at the altar of political expediency and joining the partnership in 2010, that perhaps today you all may have been the official opposition and would have been a force to be reckoned with, right? There are people who felt that by joining with the partnership, you all gave up, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, an opportunity to redeem, for the COP to redeem itself from 2007. And this is a sentiment that has been expressed since 2015. Tell me, the decision for the COP to join the partnership, was that unanimous? Was that a unanimous decision? Was there dissent? Did you support that decision for the COP to join the partnership?
Well, when we formed the COP in 2007, I remember walking from REMA, the Center of Excellence, saying it's happening, Winston Ducaran, and people of, right, not knowing that day we were going to give the name, the Congress of the People, Winston Ducaran and the People. We went length and breadth throughout Trinidad and Tobago. I was one of the first person to put up a COP sign in Aruca, and that sign was stated on the road to government. Because in 2007, right, we never thought an election would have been called, a snap election. No, an election was called. I think it was the
it was due.
It was a man called election.
Yes.
And before that election, I think when people saw the crowd at Woodford Square, because our final rally was in San Fernando, Skinner Park. But after that election, we lost, became 22nd in 22 constituency. We continue working correctly, because Winston Ducaran for the St. Augustine seat.
Right.
And he lost he lost to Vasanbad to about either 600 something votes. Because at one time he was in the lead, and we thought that he would have won that seat.
Yeah.
But after that, he continued working. And you all know what took place with. He had fellas like Vonan de Lima, right? Dr. Andrew. He had a powerful team with him.
Yes.
Right?
Persons of integrity.
Sebi Wilson.
Yeah.
Right? Emmanuel Hossain.
Clyde Weatherhead was part of that.
Yeah, Clyde Weatherhead was part of that. Clyde Weatherhead for the election of 2007.
Yes.
Right? And then he was part of I think he was the education officer, because Winston Ducaran did select an executive, right? That's how easy we get them, because our first elected executive election took place after the election of 2010. But you asked a very serious question, a very important question. And I wanted people to know that the decision, because when things started to happen with the Calder Heart and all that, people followed because it was UNC. UNC never did that. It was the COP members who were with the COP, working with the COP, right? Where Vonan de Lima is the one who went away.
And Timothy Hammerson went to Malaysia to get information to see,
and they come back.
Sunway was
right, and who was brother-in-law to Calder Heart and all the different things.
Yes.
And people failed to realize that it was not UNC. I remember we had a meeting in San Fernando, and we invited Basil Pade. Basil Pade did not come. Basil Pade sent Kamla Prasad Visesa and Rudal Munilal. They attended that meeting, and they are even addressed us in the assembly that we had.
Right.
Moving forward, Winston Ducaran, after started to work with other parties, and Jack top MSJ, and was bringing them in together to form some sort of accommodation, because Winston Ducaran said that the result of 2007 shows, right, that the only way we could defeat the PNM, we must come together as a partnership like how we had it in 1986.
So you're saying that the partnership initiative was the brainchild of the COP?
Brainchild of the COP, this is facts. Right?
But I think this is the first time people hearing that.
Yeah, that's why I told people, Jack, that's why I say the heavyweight of the partnership of 2010 is Winston Ducaran. Right? And when we come together, he said, if I snap He came and he addressing us because we saw every one thing with we saw we meetings and that people who used to be working with me, that who was the field opposition man, it was Sadiq Bash then, who was the field opposition man, and we go in length and breadth, we having meetings and all these different things throughout. When the COP it was 51 meetings in 10 nights. I was part and parcel of it. We had one of the most powerful woman platform in St. Augustine, in not St. Augustine, Trinity Car Park in the mall.
Right.
And we had people like Wendy Leon, we had people like Nico Dyer, she was
Yes, I recall she was.
Yes, she was there with us. Nico Dyer.
Carolyn was there.
Carolyn Sipasad Bechan. Hulsi Bagan. What is the next woman's name?
Gillian Lucky was part of that?
Yes. Gillian Lucky was part of the COP. We had Anand Ramlogan, we had Ganga Singh, we had
back when
Prakash
he was.
Ramadas, yes. But I would tell all this, Winston, among the things, I could write a book called COP. And now I'm telling you this, I just have a close relationship with the founder of the COP.
Yeah, but you all had a powerful movement there, so
Yes.
tell us how all you end up in that.
Well, I will tell you something. You asked my question to listen. Right, so when we formed this now, right, and we said if a snap decision was called, if a snap election called, a snap decision will be made.
Right.
And because of Winston Dukaran, when Mr. Manning, right, had the falling out within his own party, he decided that in 2.5 years' time, he called an election.
Right.
And we come together, find all the leaders, the 5 leaders. Winston Dukaran was the driving force behind it. Right? And that's how Kamla Prasad Visasa become head of the partnership when we sign on the dotted line in Faizabad with all the leaders, and we call it the Faizabad Accord.
Right.
Right? But when we get there, there's when the leadership is supposed to have a leadership meeting.
Right.
It's supposed to have a chairman meeting also too. Chairman is to meet separate, leadership is to meet separate. But the breakdown after that is when we form the partnership, won that election, and when it's time to select cabinet, I remember Winston Dukaran. This is not a joke. I say Winston or Mr. Winston Dukaran also told me personally. Right? When it was time to meet, they shift meeting from one place to another place. When the leaders and with Kamla and the chairman shift meeting from one place, at that time back then our chairman was Roy Augustus. Right? Our back chairman was Roy Augustus. But I have to go and tell people, and I will do it. Right? And from there, the cutting up start. Right? After the election, the first internal election to have political leadership, they didn't say let Winston Dukaran continue. We see people who already throw the name in the ring to be in the political leaders like Anil Roberts, Prakash Ramada.
Right.
So it was the cabal already start working to see how they could dismantle the COP, right? Even included by the hierarchy of the UNC. And who was the hierarchy of the UNC at that time? All you remember the Ramjakji?
Yes.
When the Ramjakji went throughout it, to get rid of Jackpot, to get rid of Basde Pandey.
Right.
After that, Ramjakji get rid of Basde Pandey, the Ramjakji dismantled because Ramesh, in the leadership election, you know, Ramesh contested the position for leader for the UNC.
Right.
But they didn't support Ramesh. Gypsy, who played...
They set up Ramesh.
Yes, and Gypsy, Winston Gypsy Peters. That's why Winston Gypsy describes she in a way that I can't remember how we describe her.
She's an Nimakaram, the man sing a song.
Yes, it's in Animaka, and then you see another word.
Yes.
Right? I can't remember the other word, how we pronounce her. Right? Because he was the one who was responsible for her to be the leader of the UNC. Of the UNC. But Winston Dukaran was the one of the main person in making her to be the leader of the partnership. Right? And Winston Dukaran also was the person responsible for Kamla Prasad Visasa fighting the superior seat under the NAR. Because she was an older man under the NAR. People feel that she was not founding member of the UNC. She was not founding member of the UNC. No, she came from the NAR. She was the welfare officer, Women Affairs welfare officer at the NAR, the National Alliance for Reconstruction.
Right.
Under Selby Wilson and all of them.
So she was a loafer.
Yes. And then after she just called people Locho. Remember, she used the famous word load show, right?
So is it that you all felt you stood a better chance of winning the election by putting a woman as the head of the partnership?
Well, that was the leadership did. I did not know part of that, but you asked a question, I just showed you that what they did. But and then after when we move in, obviously we very own cut us up.
Right.
Our very own. When we supposed to talk about the new politics, they never stand for the new politics. The manifesto that laid in Parliament, it was COP manifesto. Right. COP was the brainchild, right? The laptop for school children is COP. The children life fund is COP, right? So then nobody tell you about it, but it was them and all the rationalize the education system. It was COP, but it was mishandled.
So you're saying Kamala Prasad Bisasa is a serial plagiarizer?
But the serial, but they see it recently.
Well, yeah,
in England.
Yeah, but they have been selling this as if that was their brainchild.
No, you see, people must be honest. Let me tell you something. I was reading, somebody sent me something today, right? Concerning one of the candidates that lost, right? And she said seats that win. And she said, if you start to tell a lie from now.
Don't pay to call the name as Marsha Walker.
Yes, well, I don't like to call it.
I call him name.
Right. If you could tell a lie from now, and you expect that you feel that lie would bring you into government.
Yes.
It's a face reality. Popular votes don't win an election until that system change.
Or unless the popular vote is converted to seats.
Yes, and it's not converted into seats. So
right.
she's saying plainly that it's time to get rid of their leader. Because that every election after 2013, she never won an election.
Yeah.
Never, you know. We give her the election in 2010. It is COP. That's why I keep telling it. And people have to face reality and wake up and smell the coffee. You know, when you want a nice brand of coffee, then you ever donuts coffee? You know, when they think, oh, that is very nice.
Yes.
Right? You have to get up and smell the coffee.
Right.
Stop letting people tell them a dream. Right? Tell them, making them feel. And it have people who I know where I associate myself in the UNC still believing and sending me message. Right? Time to join UNC. Time to join UNC. To join what? To join a party that's feeding the nation on truth. Yes. Where people unethical, you see unethical behavior. How you could be so? In 2010, it was COP yes. They said yes, we're going in the partnership. Right. And we went in. And if we let stay, people beating us today. I see people saying they had the COP support. If they had the COP support, they get all the COP in the city, local election one. Yeah. Right? So COP people realized, and that's why I tell them this year that the COP was not part of no partnership. Right. It was not part of no partnership. We didn't join with nobody. Right? And people who want to think that it's COP votes they get. How they get my vote? Yeah. Right? And the others like me, they didn't get a vote. Yeah. Right? We stay out of the election.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you look at the preliminary figures that the EBC sent out, where I think it says the UNC got 173,000 votes yesterday, as opposed to 2019 where they got 202,000. Yeah, a loss of 29,000, and the NTA got 16,000. So even if you add that to the ones, you're still in reach 202.
It's still in reach.
So clearly,
and the other partner who say he dissolved the party. What he bring into the party? What he bring into the alliance? You see, he dissolved the party, but what he bring into the alliance?
It's better he had stay out.
Yes.
Right? And let people feel the political currency had value.
Yes, but now you throw down everything. Now
everything.
You
have nothing left.
Yes, you throw down everything. Where you come and tell people now? Yeah. Where you come and tell people now? You're trying to save China from the precipice, and now they throw in the precipice. That's what he said. Yeah. He said you had to take China out of the precipice. And now they're throwing in the precipice. So what they will do, they'll finish him off now. Because the leader say innocent until proven guilty. Correct. But it's the same leader who
that's
came
not what she said in 2015.
Yeah. She said that he wanted up there. Clear his name and come back. Yeah. And where David Lee.
She said the man don't discriminate thief in every continent.
Every continent. And what continent they have in the world? And the poorest of the poor. Yes. And the same Basil Pandey said, Jack, where you and see money. But let's forget that. Right. When in the internal election, and he called other people report to the highest order. And we see it.
So I ask the question again. Did you support the decision to join the partnership?
Well, I had to support my leader. At that time, never get I just talk about that one. You know, in 2010, I was the person was to fight Lopino Bonner West constituency. And Winston Dukaran, because in 2007, Lincoln Douglas went up for Dabadi Omera.
Right.
He lost that seat. In 2010, I wouldn't say what it is with Winston Dukaran. But Winston Dukaran called me at his office.
Right.
That time our office was in Charlieville, our headquarters. Right? And he said, we're going to make a decision. There was a person for him today, but certain things come about. Certain persons come to him and tell him certain things. It wasn't about me, right? And he wanted to give that person the try. He wanted to give that person, although you was the person for it.
Right.
He said, would you support that person? I said, yes. I said, the party is bigger than the man, right? And I say, I have to go for the party.
Right.
And I step aside. He get it. I was the first person to convert him. I was the first person to walk through Lopino border and something with him. Right? When he won the election, I played my part. When he won the election, that was it. I never went back in his office. Right? He was a member of parliament for my electoral district.
Right.
But I stayed in my party, I fight, I keep doing my work in my party. By the local government election in 2010, I said I would contest the 5 river seat for the local. I was given the seat.
Right.
Right? The same Jack Warner and 2 other persons that died now, one named the Richards brothers. The 2 of them died, Richard and Thomas, the Thomas brothers, Richard and I can't remember the next one offhand. They fight with them. They had a meeting in St. Augustine. Jack Warner said Wendell Eversley is not NRCOP, but like he forget COP joined the partnership. Went and talked on a platform because he was Minister of Works then. Then they became acting Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And we had that meeting in St. Augustine. Not St. Augustine, El Dorado, upstairs with Winston Dukaran office. Big meeting because we go and face local government. And the hardest decision I make was to step down and give Diane Bishop, the same Diane Bishop who he tell the nation, together with the Susu and they say money spread out on the table. Remember, show video and all kind of thing like that. And I'll step aside. Right? Give the UNC it. That's how the UNC end up coming and getting to be in charge of the corporation. But I never give up on my party. Right? I was persecuted by my party, but I never give up. Because if I believe in something, I work with them. And I see everything what the party stands for.
Right.
And it's the policy the party put in place. And I say, yes, it's good policy, everything from moving Trinidad to go forward. But when I see our very own start to undermine.
And that was very early on.
Yes. And when I see they start to undermine and cut away and people deceiving us. I remember I went with Roger Samuel and passed with him in El Dorado Senior Comprehensive. We say, you're going to be ready to walk because they're taking advantage. Next 2 days, they call Roger Samuel and make him a minister of what? I can't remember.
National Diversity and Social Integration.
And he said he's going to rewrite the history of Trinidad. And that was
the pastor.
Yes, the pastor. Then after he stopped silent now. He ain't criticizing. All of them. Right? Next one was minister in the Ministry of the People. Dr. Lincoln Douglas. They call him in, they give him Minister of Culture. Right? You see, he started dressed like Jonathan Goodluck. Right? Do you laugh at that seriously? You know Jonathan Goodluck?
Yes.
That the Nigerian president.
Yes.
Right? Because everybody with big heart.
In fact, he came here while Mrs. Pasabi Sasso was
right. So he started dressed like Jonathan Goodluck. Right? So all of them, the next one get a 1-day drive in PM1. Right? We leader. And what happened? And people have to face reality. All of them is who play a part and a role in having COP where they exist today. Right? And if they had belief in their own party, one day we'd rise. Right? But when they feel like when they destroy, look what's coming back to them now.
Yeah.
Look what's coming back to them now. And feel people just forget. Right? They feel people just forget. But they say, Stalin saying better days are coming. I see they take Stalin's song, right? And they try to light them up in it, breaking copyright laws again.
Yes.
I don't know if they get permission to do that. I don't know if the family are going to take action on people just taking a man great song, right? And doing and the words, when you listen to the words that they're putting in the song, I said that rubbish, I said that crap, they can't make a proper verse that have meaning. And then after want to tell us that it's the most disgraceful thing you ever see for offer on this campaign as local government. And instead of deal with issues, instead of deal with representation at local government level, proper representation, meaningful representation. For years, people complaining about local government and the candidates, and them didn't have the resources to do the work because they had to depend on central government, and then they had to depend on the allocation that given to each corporation. And now you're hearing things that you're getting resources. We should embrace that. Come and show that, hey, if you begin reform, what other ideas we want to input on it. All parties, even in government or out of government, should come together and say, hey, this is something will ease the burden, right, of representatives. Have to depend on the MPs, have to depend on ministers to patch this, to patch that, when we could come together now and collect our own revenue. And when people don't want something like that, they show clearly they don't want to move forward. You have alderman sitting in corporation, some of them going back as alderman. Don't can't even make a proper sentence, don't even understand the role of an alderman, don't even understand the role of local government, and they will sit there and we want to continue with it.
Collect salary.
Yeah, we want to continue with this kind of representation and local government.
But it was Basil Pandey who once said it is not the job of the opposition to make the government look good.
No, and then what the opposition leader said, we support them with nothing.
Right.
Support them with nothing to chastise her representative. And when a leader could say, the hell with country, right, and party first.
Yes.
Party first. And people doesn't realize, you see, when we talk about constitutional reform, remember they bring the right to recall?
Yes.
You know who saved the day? Carolyn Sipasad Bechan and Winston Dukaran that vote against that bill.
Yes.
Our leader back then, Prakash Ramada, was the person in charge of constitutional reform.
Right.
We had the committee, Justice Vento, Mulhodge, right? And went the length and breadth, the whole sittings in Port of Spain, Choconas, Arima, Sandy Grande, Miaro, San Fernando, Point Fortin, Tobago. And when they bring the findings and they bring what they bring, if it wasn't for Mulhodge and Justice Vento, he had to resign. They went on the launch attack, the same Anand Ramlogan, and then launch an attack on Mulhodge. Mulhodge, that are
the waterfront. Yes.
Mulhodge said, what they recommend, and what we see now, is not the recommendation.
Correct.
Is not the recommendation. And they went in a back room with our leader there was too. And they changed, they bring the limited amount of arms, saying the right to recall, that was to kill third parties.
Correct.
The same third parties that today, that said they will make the difference. All of them would have been no more. Them kind of said they exist.
Yes, and he was part of that cabinet.
Yes,
right?
yes. I think that time they don't fire him or something. Right? But I'm just showing you something.
Yeah.
How the same people who, when we say we will give them, and who was the one talking about constitutional reform and proportional representation? Is the COP.
Yes.
Is the COP. We talk about that. We say that if we're going into the partnership and think, these are some of the things we want. Right? And then not what they did. When they see the executive power of a prime minister, and on one hand you're telling us we're going to have constitutional reform, tell the country a constitutional reform, and then bring a reform, right, to kill third parties in constituency, and if you don't get a certain amount of vote, and the only thing that constitutional reform brought us was how we select aldermen.
Aldermen, yes.
Right, that is the only
So
thing
they can get
brought
up
us.
for toll in P&M corporations that they would not
yes.
otherwise have.
That is the only thing. And now they're talking about, look the reform talk about, instead of we have a minority leader in the corporation now, something like Tobago.
Yes.
Them don't want that. They say them studying the community status. If we want to say we're going to transform this country, right, in a model that where we could see that communities start developing an electoral district. Every candidate or who councillor gets elected right now should know the electoral district by the tip of their finger, right? They should, and an electoral district is not a huge space. You might have about 12 boundaries, and it would 12 polling divisions, which divided in polling divisions. And if you want to divide the divisions in zones, right, and you say, hey, I could do this week, I could do this next week, I could do, and you tour your area. By that now your constituents will be seeing you on a regular basis. They will be able to tell you this area need this area need that, and that's how you see we need this infrastructure better. To show you the drainage system, because when you look, you're going to go through some of them electoral districts.
Yes.
And you want the drainage, poor, right? And you want things. That's why you see sometimes it has so much flooding in the area, because the drain don't have proper lead rate. So that
like the box drain some 2010 to 2015, start nowhere and went nowhere. Hold that thought. Folks, we go to another break. Stay locked, we will be right back. We continue the conversation on the other side. For those of you who are joining us on Facebook as well, we'll be right back. So don't touch it dial.
Green Dot continues to deliver internet connectivity to a wide range of communities in Trinidad. With our combination fiber and wireless network, you get the service you need wherever you live. Stream your favorite shows, enjoy online tuition, stay in touch with your work team, and connect with friends and family with internet service at a price you can afford. As communities continue to grow, we continue to deliver. Call 224-GDOT or visit gd.tt today. Green Dot, improving and simplifying lives.
A warm welcome awaits you at Alicia's Palace, a hotel nested in the quiet hills of Lady Chancellor at 1 3/4 mile mark just above the Emperor Valley Zoo. Alicia's Palace is the perfect place to combine pleasure and business. A 24-hour facility with full amenities, including air-conditioned rooms with Wi-Fi, mini-fridge, microwave, and cable TV. Designed to provide you with quiet comfort and convenience. The perfect staycation location where you can swim in the outdoor pool, soak in the jacuzzi, or simply soak up the sun, all at an affordable price. Relax and enjoy local dishes in an eco-friendly environment. At Alicia's Palace, they conduct steam cleaning of all rooms and common areas in keeping with current health and safety protocols. Whether it's a special occasion or simply just to get away, Alicia's Palace combines affordability and quality service. For more details, check out their Facebook page, Alicia's Palace HQ, or give them a call at 621-1017 or 624-8553.
If you're planning an event, make us your first option. At Reality of a Dream, we can make your event memorable. We can assist in planning your corporate functions, moderate gatherings, family occasions, christenings, and more. We also cater for weddings and other special occasions. Our newly renovated venue includes a majestic entryway, which takes you along a path to a fantastic indoor facility, which can accommodate up to 80 dining guests. A recently completed, fully air-conditioned, beautifully designed wing, which maintains the theme and flow of Reality of a Dream, adds 30 extra seats for dining guests. In total, we can now seat a total of 110 dining guests. Come see for yourself the splendor that awaits you. Walk along the path and make your way to the breathtaking, well-maintained swimming pool and gazebo, and also the entire grounds of Reality of a Dream. We've also updated the Dream Suite, which comes with all modern conveniences, where guests can enjoy the feeling of an exquisite retreat overlooking the entire area. Reality of a Dream caters to professional events. We provide secured parking for guests, so call us at 332-6880 and ask for Harriet, located at number 15 Moses Avenue, San Juan. Reality of a Dream, making dreams come true every day.
We're back. You're tuned into The Real Issues with yours truly, Dominic Romain, my guest this evening, Mr. Wendell Eversley, and we're discussing the real issues that have been, trending over the last couple of days. We're talking local government election as well as the outcome of the election, and how do we progress going forward. Now, Wendell, you were making a point before we went to the break, right? And I want to ask you. So you were talking about more involvement on the part of the citizens with respect to local government, and I think it's something that Dr. Rowley would have alluded to. How do we go about doing that? Do you think, given the fact that we only had about 330,000 people voting yesterday, a significant decline from 2019, to me demonstrates a lack of interest in local government, notwithstanding the fact that this was perhaps people were calling this the mother of all local government elections. The results, the outcome, the votes clearly didn't speak to that, right? Do you think the population is really interested in local government? Do you think they need to be more educated on what local government is about, the whole reform agenda, and what it means to them and how it is going to improve their lives?
Yes, reform is very important because if you look at it, right, why you say people not losing focus on local government representation, right, and don't want to get in, look at it very seriously, because if you look at it that a councillor will tell you they're going to do this, right? And then after, when it's time to deliver, they cannot deliver because they don't have the resources. Right? And for instance, I involved in an organization in Tunapuna, Tunapuna Sports Movement. Right. Out of Tunapuna Sports Movement, we run cricket competition. Right? And our great cricketers play in that competition. Right? Lyndon Simmons was one of them. Sunil Narayan, all of them passed away. I am the vice president of Tunapuna Sports Movement. We clamoring for a clubhouse. We also clamoring for where we are. We need toilet facilities and all that, because you wouldn't believe how much team has come there on mornings and evenings that playing cricket from the weekends. And we went to corporation chairman, right now I went to this current chairman, and he said, Wendell, I will work with all it so that we could get a clubhouse, we want toilet, because the residents complaining, right? They say that it don't look good for women and men to be going and pee in the bush, and that children they watch, right, in the community. So when the corporation tell us that they don't have, they understand our plight, and they don't have the money and the finance to help us, to even cut the grass, right? Sometimes we had to get in Wakamen paying money from our own pocket to cut the whole field, right? Because the corporation don't have the cutter. If they have a cutter, it is not functioning. If it's functioning, it's in some other part of the electoral district of, not electoral, the region of Tunapuna Piaku, because it's the largest region in Trinidad, right? And when simple thing as that, it's so clearly, and they're telling you that they cannot do anything for us. One of the councillor Josiah, we used to be begging him, and he said, this is the much we could do. Right? And then after seeing that we getting reform at local government level, knowing that things that corporation elect councillors need to be get done is something we should embrace, right? And when they call for local government reform, calling every chairman, councillors, come together. Let me discuss reform, right? Let me discuss how to make your electoral district a more efficient electoral district.
Right.
Let me try to see how we can get rid of the problems that plague in the electoral district, right? And councillors and listening to these new development, and then the leaders telling them don't go. It shows clearly that the leader also don't want development at local government level.
Right.
They don't want councillors, their very own councillors, because when they hear about flooding and all these different things, you see one set of the country, anytime rainfall, most of the bulk of the problem with the flooding and the drainage, and with the building the houses and not proper drainage. We see what went on in Sandy Grande recently. There's no proper planning permission from tongue and country, and even the own corporation, right, building inspector and all them different things, giving people to build, right, not looking at the consequences, and no proper drainage and no proper. And when we get in now to know that we could get money, collect our own revenue, and we turning our back on these little things, it's so clearly that leaders don't really care about local government level. They wanted to remain as, or go back when it was county council, right? St. George East, St. Patrick, Nariva, and right, go back in. And when we in the 2023, and we should look at development, look at how local government representatives should be more productive, look at more efficient, more bringing the electoral district to state of the art when it comes to local government representation. But when they want to put councillors who don't understand what is local government representation, what do you expect? What do you expect? And an opportunity like this now, the government, I telling you something, I for development. And if our government want to bring development to our country, we should support that government. Don't matter if we're in opposition, don't matter if we don't support that party, it's something to embrace and something to which we know that we will benefit from it.
Right.
My children will benefit from it. Your children will benefit from it. Your children will have a better community to live in, a better community. Because when you go through some of the electoral districts, you don't have a proper lighting system. And the government will tell you, we will try to pass street light there. When you go to the meetings, they say, we need a street light for this corner. Look at the bulbs and working. But if your community now collecting your own revenue and it's staying there, and what do you expect? So you should embrace that.
So do you think the citizenry themselves are stagnating progress in local government? By not, first of all, by not becoming a part of the process, by simply, I elect somebody and I figure, well, they're supposed to do all the work. I always say prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. You can't come to me as a candidate and say, I'm coming to do this for you. I didn't tell you I want that. It's the same thing if you go to a doctor, and you walk in, the doctor has your prescription, he ain't sound you, he ain't check you out, and he tell you, you're not going to do that, right? But as you mentioned there, because my party not in power, I can't support that because it's a good idea. But then it will make the party in power look good and make it difficult for my party to get into power. So I'm not supporting it, even though it benefits me and my community.
But you listen to some of the same people, some of the same MPs,
yes,
embracing the reform.
Yeah.
But when it's time to come to implement it, no.
Yeah.
No, they don't love. Let me tell you something. If people don't want to realize it, it's that people who love country and that people who don't love country.
Right.
And we're seeing today more than ever that people do not love country and they don't want development for China. And they must make sure that this country, people suffer.
Yeah.
But when they fail to realize, not only the people who don't want to see progress, they suffer in their very own. Right? And if their very own could say, hey, I didn't vote for this, I vote for progress. From the day the people start to stand up against these people who say they love their leader and following their leader and love their party, and they're supposed to tell you, vote for progress, right? You know how much of them used to send me things? Boy, you better tell when we had to vote for progress. I said, but vote for progress, but you don't want reform?
Yeah.
Huh? Reform is progress.
Right.
Right? So when they come and they tell you, they show you clearly. Right? They want to tell you not vote for, they want to tell, this local government election had nothing to do about local government reform coming from certain quarters.
Yeah.
Right? They thought it was a general election. Who is the Prime Minister trying to go today?
Yeah.
Election come and finish. Who is the Prime Minister?
Yeah.
Right? As he's telling people he's there until he call election. Right? But he had to see about reform. And it's time, who the country must know who really want to reform, who don't want to reform. Yeah. And it's a time you pitch it again and call everybody, call every party. See if people serious about working. They say they want to work, develop it, right? We have things like national security, the guns coming in here illegally. A former prime minister tells us that we must fight the war on land, not on sea.
Yeah.
And we move, right? The boats that put to patrol our borders.
Right.
And all we see is illegal firearms entering our shores. And illegal firearms, look, we bring top of the line people from the United States of America down to the Secretary of State. Right? A powerful team from the Democrats in the Senate of the United States of America, led by the minority leader. A powerful team from CARICOM, all the leaders come, right? They bring the Chief Justice, they bring the Minister of National Security. We have forums to deal with all the illegal firearms entering in our countries and in other people's shores. And what we see a opposition leader cry down, condemn it.
Because she had to get up at 5 o'clock to reach Port Spain for 9.
Yes, and condemn it. And when you hear these kind of things, how you could say you love country?
Right.
You cannot, right? You went and you meet the new American ambassador to talk about crime and energy and guns, but you went with a leader who in charge of opposition business in the lower house, who before the court on $1 million bail.
Yes.
Right? So that just show you, we have other people name calling and and everything unethical we see in.
Yeah.
Right? Or even if you're known to the police, we know where to find them.
Right.
Right? And these are the kind of guarantees. So I want to see, it's time local government representative demand that they get local government reform, because they will be able to help their constituents for the electoral district. And anytime nobody don't want that, we should call them out. Anytime nobody don't want that, we should call them out. And it's time we call them out.
Yeah.
It's time we call a spade a spade.
But Wendell, classic example, right? The San Fernando Corporation, Marcus Gedari, crossed the floor, came across to the PNM, right? And one of the reasons he gave for making that decision is because he said that the UNC councillors were told, don't do anything in your districts to make so you can make the government look bad. He lost that seat, right? Now here it is that he said, I stand on principle. I support the UNC, but I stand on principle, and I've crossed the floor, and I'm offering myself to you, which is of the same district, and I think he lost by maybe 12, a little bit of votes, right? But it tells you something. Now, when it is that the supporters of the opposition can hear a man stand on principle and he say, I want to give you all better service, and the leadership of the party that you all support is telling us, do not give you better service because we need to create a narrative that the government not performing, and they ain't giving us resources to do the work. And let's still vote you out and put somewhere. What does that tell you about the people in that district who support reform and who support development and want it are in the minority, and they will lose out on it because those in the majority have the votes to put their person there to continue the nonsense that their leader pushed.
And it will bring me back as you raised it about that councillor, former councillor Samuel Sanka,
yes,
a good friend of mine. It had a day he was on television, it had a flooding in his area. And he see what his constituent was going through.
Right.
And he the call of the Prime Minister. And he went to that meeting and he was chastised.
Yes.
They take him out from their own group chat. They take him out from their own group chat.
Right.
Right? And they start attacking him. even his own member of parliament for his electoral area, right? Stop even communicating with him.
Right.
And it showed clearly, because he tired that when rain fall, his area always flooded. His constituents always coming and complaining to him. He realized he can't do nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And he said, hey, if the prime minister called, he went there to let the prime minister know, and the minister of local government, I need help for my constituents. Right? Besides that, he become a victim. So it showed clearly that when people telling you, on one hand, they want local government election. On one hand, they want local government reform. On one hand, call the election. And on the other hand, you don't have a plan. You don't have a plan. It shows clearly what you really are. So what you really want the election for? To see how you could protect certain elements in your party, right? From who? From who? So this what we are seeing today, and I pray to God that we get local government reform and at local government level, and we get a reform that will benefit every constituent in the cities, in the boroughs, and in the regional corporation. Because we have 2 new boroughs, Diego Martin and Soparia. So what you were telling people up there now, don't go for reform?
Yeah.
In the new borough, but you will be there to shuffle, to shower in a new mayor.
A new mayor, yes.
You will see the deceitfulness in them.
Correct.
They show clearly, right? And then they will come and say this and that. And oh gosh, man, people should know when people time up, go and pray with your great-grandchildren and let people who understand local government representation. Because local government representation should be close to everybody's heart. Right? And local government reform should be close to every constituent in every electoral district. And that's what we see.
Yes.
When you walk through 5 Rivers and you watch the trains, and you understand, I'm so glad to know that your community will be able to transform with proper and meaningful local government representation. And the only way we can get that, we have to call for the reform.
But your former colleague, your former COP colleague, Clyde Weatherhead, has been prosecuting the case that the government's reform agenda is a farce, a mamagai thing, because he's saying that the law is there, the law was passed, it's just for the cabinet to give instruction to the president to proclaim. Now, the government would have indicated that one of the main reasons why they took a decision to extend the life of the former council by 1 year was to ensure that all of the infrastructure was in place, so that when the law is proclaimed, it could be rolled out and all of the councillors could hit the ground running. Because what you don't want is a situation where you proclaim a law, but it cannot be operationalized because you don't have the infrastructure in place to do so. We find ourselves in this predicament now because while some of the infrastructure would have been put in place on account of the fact that the UNC went to the Privy Council and they would have hastened the timeline for the election, the government now finds itself on the back foot, where they are unable to proclaim the law in its full form. So as infrastructure comes into place, you would see different parts of the law proclaimed because the infrastructure is now there to facilitate that, right? But Mr. Weatherhead continues to, he's saying, they try to ask my thing, and what is preventing the government from proclaiming the law in its full form?
Well, I didn't hear what Clyde Weatherhead said.
Yeah, he said that last night, and I was in a panel with him.
Right, but one thing I could say, if you're talking about the law, as a farce, you must tell the country why he resigned from COP.
Why you tell us that?
Secretary, well, you must tell the country that, right? You must tell why he resigned.
Right.
And if it's a law he was going to break too. Right, you must tell. And you must tell the country what Justice Ricky Wahim said. So you see, people just want to talk, and I don't even listen to them. Right? I don't even want to listen to them. And if people want to talk about who breaking law, they should be the last person to talk about breaking law. Right? Yes. They should be talking about everybody have a constitution. They must say what constitution they was trying to break.
I'll be talking about breaking law. Let's go across the pond. Fali Augustine, the Tobago People Party. Right? Fast and out of place. On Sunday night, telling the Prime Minister, you need to come to Mason Hall and have a navel string buried there. You need to dig it up and carry it back to Trinidad. Because you're not welcome to in Tobago.
Who's the neighbor Stringberry?
Huh?
Who's the neighbor Stringberry? Here's the neighbor String.
Dr. Rowley.
So what are you trying to say? Dr. Keith Rowley is not the Prime Minister of Tobago? Huh?
Dr. Rowley could be this man father. He's more Tobago than Fali. He's been Tobago long before
well,
Fali.
on one hand, you're hearing about call election now.
Yeah.
So when I hear him say call election,
We ready?
now,
Call election.
yeah, call election now. Well, in order for Dr. Rowley to set the election day,
Yeah.
he had to dissolve the THA because he's the chief secretary.
Yeah.
So he ain't saying that part. Huh? That is the first thing he should look to tackle. Follow what the THA constitution said about dissolving the THA. Who is the person supposed to dissolve the THA? I don't know Keith Rowley ever dissolved.
Right.
Or prime ministers come before Keith Rowley dissolved the THA. Even when A.N.I. Robinson was Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and we had the chairman, Dinoon, and right, they are the one who dissolved, and then on the advice according to the THA, that of what time that to call an election, and the consultation between the Prime Minister and the Chief Secretary, they discussed the date.
Yes.
And then they forwarded it to the president, and the president is the one who announced the date for the election.
Right.
So the first step is that he must dissolve the THA House of Assembly.
Right.
Would he do that? And he launch a new party?
Yeah, right.
Right, and he says the anchor in the sea.
Yes.
So then there should be an anchor in the THA too, and says let me go and call that election first.
Right.
Because we know when election will call.
Yeah.
And election is not until 2025, right? Or if the Prime Minister sees it fit to call it before,
Right.
Right? We know that another Prime Minister went over the 5 years and take another 3 months, right? Which she went within the Constitution, which give her another 3 months to call an election. So when you want to tell, because I listen at next one say the licensing officers and the commissioner of licensing transport cannot come to Tobago without notifying him, right? And if they come, they have to pack up with. Huh? Suppose if the TTPS decided, all of them say we're gonna leave Tobago, and come to Trinidad. Huh? Who is it? The TTPS is not for Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah. Remember his former leader used to say, we want we own judiciary, and we want we own central bank, and we own this and we own that, right? We want from Trinidad, and what does he want that chief secretary's stupidness? We want we own prime minister.
But now you say something different. Now you say the same one disrespectful.
Yeah.
Huh? You saying the same one disrespectful. So when you listen to some people, because on one hand he's telling you about he's the prime minister for Trinidad. And the other hand, he's talking about series of court matters. So we get any money to fight this series of court, not the THA money.
Yeah.
And with the THA money coming, not from the central bank.
But glad you raised the issue of THA money, right?
Yes.
Because on I think it was Saturday night or somewhere, on the news, Fali Augustine was speaking about the constitution of the TPP. He said it has to go out to the membership for them to review it and they make a final decision. He said they had a battery of lawyers review this constitution. The TPP, as a recently registered political party, if you don't have an executive and you don't have a constitution, you can't open a bank account.
No.
Where the money come from to pay the battery of lawyers?
Right. And we get it from who the financiers.
Oh.
Right. And then after, what do you call it? TPP.
Yeah. TPP, Tobago People Party.
Oh, so they take out the O. Right? Remember TOP?
TOP, yes.
Right? Tobago
Organization of the People.
So they take out the O and they put a P.
Yeah.
So it's Tobago what?
People's Party.
Oh, so they're getting some advice from Trinidad. And who?
Not just advice.
Huh?
Not just advice.
So when they ask you the money, where they getting the money from? They must tell us who their financiers.
Correct.
And how they get their money.
And who the money being paid because it's not going in a bank account, that's in TPP's name.
If we hear in the business community in Tobago complaining, right?
We know it's not them financing.
Right. So then somebody else is financing that.
Right.
Right. And then after, you have to hear about you hear from the in Tobago concerning how contracts have been given out, so select and all the different things. And you're hearing that contractors in Tobago who could do the job being bypassed for contractors in Trinidad. I don't know what part of Trinidad they're from. But if in Trinidad, they're hearing about other people who not even self into the field of these kind of work, giving the also contract and in the millions, right? And then after I listened to his Vaness Jim.
Yeah, Winford.
No, not Winford. I listened to Vaness Jim, the economist in Tobago.
He resurfaced?
Yeah, well, I listened to him this morning.
Okay.
On what he said.
Yeah.
Right? He said nobody studying this current administration that governing the affairs of Tobago. He said they lost the way.
Yeah.
And it's facts. He said it's facts, and he said that they don't have a plan, they have a clue. So they're hearing the talks what you're getting on the platform. You gotta ask if it's a badge on party.
Right.
Right? And people talking with that authority that they're bullying people.
But they say Tobago is at war.
With who? With who? Trinidad?
Apparently.
I don't know what kind of language they're sending.
Yeah.
Right? So if they say Tobago at war, so then they follow in the footsteps of empty the clip.
Yeah.
So we are one saying war, and next one saying empty the clip.
Yeah.
Right? But the empty the clip didn't work.
Yes.
Right? And
it backfire.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the war, they might be singing about crazy things some years ago. He said last year I missed the crop, and this year tell them is war.
Right.
And he come third or something. So he didn't come first. Right. Because when he sang dustbin cover, and when he thought he would have won the crop, he came second. So I think he came last when he sang tell them is war. Right? So I don't know what kind of war he's speaking about. Right? But I know that what he's doing to Tobago. And then after they quick to call people who work hard and build and sacrifice for Tobago. They quick to mention their name.
Yeah.
Right? They quick to mention and all of them quick to use the former president, the former prime minister, the former chief secretary, not chief secretary, chairman of the Tobago House of Assembly, right? The post finance minister, the PNM, the former the International Criminal Court. They quickly use his name when they realize they're in trouble.
Prostitutes and the money.
Yes.
So we had to go to a break. Folks, we go to our last break for this evening. We continue the discussion when we come back. Throw a few more, questions at Wendell, and let me see what he will reveal for us tonight. All right, so we'll be right back. Stay locked.
My parents' generation grew up with Royal Castle from the first restaurant in 1968 when that distinctive, tempting aroma hit the air. Like never before, fried chicken with a special blend of local seasonings and a one-of-a-kind flavor down to the bone. Today, Royal Castle still have that same delicious taste, and I love it too. And the kids, they have more to enjoy. For me, the Castle is more than just nice food. It's we own, part of me and you, and is the real flavor of TNT.
Are you stressed and worried by problems? Then meet Priest Santosh G. Priest is specialized in palm, face, photo, and date of birth reading and gives solutions to problems in marriage, relationships, love, business, job, health, and removes all negativity and bad luck permanently and gives good luck and also gives lifelong protection. Home consultation is done. Call Priest Santosh on 756-8401. That's 756-8401.
The rainy season is here. Don't wait until your roof is falling in to call. Contact Murphy's Roofing to get all your roofing services done now. Murphy's Roofing System is offering 10% off labor, 5% off material, 10% off roof cleaning, and 10% off roof painting. So contact them at 3567663 or WhatsApp to 9876663 or check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Murphy's Roofing System or Twitter at Murphy's System. And remember, Murphy's Roofing System, where you always get quality work for your money.
Welcome back, folks, to Real Issues with yours truly, Dominic Romain, and we are into the final half hour of this evening's program. And if you're just joining us, well, you missed a very riveting show so far for this evening. If the comments that I'm seeing on the Facebook is anything to go by, I see that folks are enjoying the conversation this evening with my guest, and we're happy to hear that. So my guest this evening, if you're just joining us, Wendell Eversley. No stranger to Trinidad and Tobago, patriot, as I call him, social activist, political activist, coup survivor, and so many other hats Wendell wears. Wendell, the results of yesterday's election, right, certainly was a setback for the UNC. For weeks, we've been hearing that we're going to win the election, and they're going to put a licking on the PNM. You'll keep it TV friendly, right? In fact, over the last few days, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa would have advised, and there were ads that they put out encouraging people to empty the clip on the PNM for this election and all of that. So it was supposed to be a bloodbath, right? They were looking at probably, I suppose the UNC camp was probably looking at maybe 10, 11 corporations. That did not happen. And with all the so-called discontent that the UNC has been saying, people with the loss of jobs and the increase in the cost of living, inflation, crime, the merit list, all of these different things were supposed to come together to create this deadly cocktail that the PNM could not have recovered from. That didn't happen. Mrs. Prasad Bisesa was pitching her hopes on a very favorable outcome yesterday to launch as a launch pad for 2025. In fact, she said so. The outcome of yesterday's election was supposed to be a stepping stone to 2025, which is why the focus was on general election issues. They now have to re-strategize, recalibrate, right? Do you foresee an accommodation, a coalition between the UNC and FALI 2025? Because the 2 seats in Tobago would be critical to win that election.
Now, before, and I don't think we will have a general election until it's
constitutionally due.
And
yes.
that will be quite not the early part of 2025.
No, I think they could probably go as late as probably November, December 2020.
When was the last THA election?
That would have been in January.
In 2021.
Yes.
So when is the next one due?
2025.
Right.
Yes.
So
he may not be around.
He might not be around. So,
right.
that answer. Right? That answer.
But he making plans, eh? Making plans.
There's that people that make plans and God does something.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So I say no more now.
Right.
In 2025, they will usher in a new administration.
You think he'll be behind bars for AudioGate?
Well, with that people in Trinidad, you're supposed to be behind bars. So it's according to our justice system.
Correct.
People here there are people here who names have been called in Parliament in human trafficking, and they're sitting comfortably,
yes.
Right? And investigations are still ongoing, right? So what could I say? That people also don't want certain reports to come out,
yes,
right? And there are people also too who want $1 million bill,
yes,
and they're telling them that they're innocent, and we see other people now who they say clear their name and they bring them back. What I want to know now is what sort of accommodation they will have with those people now, because when they realize that those people didn't deliver,
there's nobody left.
Yeah, so and I don't think that the country will go. I've been honest to you. Me, I wouldn't trust any sort of alliance with Kamala Prasad.
Yeah.
This is me, right? I can't talk directly for my party,
Right.
right? Because I know what they give when it comes to alliances, especially with them.
Right.
And it's time if UNC should search themselves and take, what do you give them?
Who's this, Marsha?
Yeah.
Right.
Take advice, right? That's what I do to take, right?
Yeah.
Take advice, because you notice, I just only want to focus on our leader, right? Me, so more of people could show all sorts of things about me. You is not no leader.
Right.
Right? And when I keep telling you, when people say this is mother of the nation, my mother died. You didn't ever see, she was my mother.
Right.
So she's the mother of the nation because she grew me. She tell me how I supposed to be. And not only I alone, she told that to. She told her 13 children. She was a mother with 13 children. And she did a damn good job for a mother with no father around. And how she brought us up.
Right.
Right? And I'm glad. So asking the question with the thing, if we see they did it with the PDP, I call it the party of dishonest people. I warn the people, and there's no more.
Yeah.
The man say he come to that to contest to be the bear, they're still looking for him. And then after, when I looked at the television, I saw he had a fellow named Gregory as his campaign manager. I said, well, where the tail is this?
Yeah.
I said, I wonder if that matter finished.
Yeah.
So I said, no more.
So he went to the political cemetery too.
Yes. So all of them, you remember party, they say you were going to political cemetery. And right, so all of them, and he said, and he went for that one, he said, he said, as long as Kamala there, you will never see a picture again.
Right.
And it's coming to pass. And the only people who, when a leader want to bring all sort of people and want to force them onto the population, what you think?
Yeah.
You think we would embrace it? Huh? We will not embrace that. And people have to open their eyes. When you call people all kind of, listen to me, I was talking to a 12-year-old boy. I don't want to call his name. I mean, a man, I just said, man, he said, I want to tell you something. He said, we're going to a local government election. A 12-year-old,
Yeah.
we're going to a local government election. And when you look at what's coming out on the platform and all that, then he went back and he said, you remember the slave master name? So I said, well, you know what the slave master name? He said, well, we foreparents came here as slaves.
Right.
And when somebody can remind us how we could get our name, he said, that is not nothing nice to say.
Yeah. 12-year-old.
Yeah, 12-year-old. You see, that's something nice to say. And then people feel that the DNA in this thing is fast. And some people do want to take heed. And when somebody could say that on a platform and beat their chest and smile, I said, my name is a beautiful name. How you get yours? Huh? How you get yours? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to do? And then after this, it's quick to tell you you're using the race card. Right? When you see you talk certain things, they call you a racist. Right? When you see you don't support them, they tell you you're hungry. So then you have a view of your own. You have a view of your own. And our constitution said is what? Freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of worship. Right? Just as how you have a right to talk, I have a right to talk. Just as how you have a right to criticize, I have a right to criticize. So you cannot want to tell me what I should talk about or what I shouldn't talk about.
Right.
And I feel you will be stifling me from expressing myself. And when we see leaders who want to be dictators, we must also let them know that we don't want that here. I was listening to the documentary, I just go over and listen to certain documentary. I was going back into the documentary of the resolution in Grenada. And the role that our then former Prime Minister played, George Chambers. Right? And what he say when they asked to send peacekeeping troops across there, right? After or even before, what he say, right? You see, this is something that they should solve because it's a sovereign state, and we, right, governments passed and said that even with the coup of 1998, and I remember he said he don't want outside interference, right? Let me try and settle our internal differences, right? The night of the 1990 was the most deadliest night ever seen in my entire life. By the next day, they call him Robinson, Mr. Robinson. Why they were saying, who's Robinson, who's Robinson? Then they call him Mr. Prime Minister. Right? Because you see, when they realized they lost the fight, and that's why I always had to thank the army, because we didn't have an army that say they're going on the side of the terrorists, right? Or the people who staged the coup. They decide on the side of who? Trinidad and Tobago and the Constitution and the rule of law, right? They didn't take up the guns and say, hey, they can do that if they want. But no, right? They stand on the side of what? The government. And we have to thank God that we have an army that even today, with all that we see in, right? And all who chastising them, because they just come in for lips, but they're standing on the side of the law of Trinidad and Tobago, right? And with the what we see also too in the TTPS, who is getting rid of the two Canadian commissioners?
Yeah.
And why they getting rid of them? Huh? Why they getting rid of them?
Yeah.
And then after, who it is that had there acting for so much a years? Remember?
Yes.
Right. So when they want to talk, you have to understand. I remember a letter was wrote to the former Prime Minister telling her don't put a certain person as Attorney General in this country. Right? And the person who wrote that letter was my leader, the founder of the COP. Right? When they had the meeting, when they shift the meeting, they pick the cabinet.
So Winston didn't want...
No! He said it played, he wrote the Prime Minister a letter to. Right? And said no. But did she listen? After 2 years, they removed Winston Ducan as Minister of Finance. Because they couldn't do Winston what they bring somebody in, put him as Minister of Finance, and what happened to the country? Right?
Paid him 10 million.
Yes, they couldn't get the Carolyn, right?
Yes.
What they do? They remove her as Minister of Energy.
Yes.
Then the trade union leader said she was one of the best Minister of Energy.
Right.
And when they remove her, what happened? People started to light us concerning our energy sector. Right? And that's what we had.
Yes.
Right? And we had to face reality. We had people who was a runaway horse, and who won we got them.
Yeah.
The same Austin Jack Warner. He said he never see corruption so in his whole entire life for one term. For one term. Right? And we know,
Dagger.
yes, he said he never seen thieving so.
People thieving money like they invented it.
Yes, and then after next one said, he said she had rats around her.
Yes.
Who was the one saying that? Right. So let me tell you something. You see this bird here?
Yeah.
There's not so much I could talk. I could talk with you for a whole 36 days non-stop and show the people why we must not go back there.
Right.
Right. I want to see betterment for this country called Trinidad and Tobago. Right. You see, the real issue, that's the name of my program.
Yes.
But the real issue coming out.
Yes.
Right. I want to see that we could get up tomorrow morning and say yes, because let me tell you something. Out of the commissioner of the commissioner's report in the commission of inquiry, right? In chapter 12, if anybody ever read chapter 12, it talk about the national security of our country.
Right.
Right? And what a government supposed to do. And what a government supposed to put in place. And one of the paramount things the government must do, right, is to protect its citizens. To protect its citizens. And when we could see people going against laws that will protect the citizens, you have to ask the question why it is them don't want laws to protect our citizens from hardened criminals, illegal firearms entering ashore, gangs, right, murder rate going up, and because these same illegal guns killing these people, falling in the hands of wrong people, drugs coming in, guns coming in, jobs moving, guns ending up in the hands of the wrong set of people, and bills and legislation coming before Parliament to see how we could stem that. and you going against that.
And then you go to court and
Yes,
petition the
and
court
yes,
to make murder
going-
a bailable offense.
Yes, what do you mean? And who went and do it?
Exactly.
They didn't have to lock up 9,000 people.
Yes.
Young Africans. Say make a makeshift jail in Pinto, right?
Yeah.
A makeshift jail. The charges will come after. Then send the same lawyers to represent them. The state have to pay it.
Yes.
And the tax. And that same money could have been going towards development. The same money could have been going towards development.
Today, that same AG is suing the state for, on behalf of 9 men acquitted of the Venture Naipo Kugman murder for 3.5 million each.
You see? And then after he might petition the court too for those who involved in Dina murder.
Yeah.
So you could see definitely, and it have people, I don't care what nobody say. Right? Our justice system moving slow. Right? Our justice system moving slow. We heard it had a spin-off. They say they didn't have enough tools. They didn't have enough equipment. They need lawyers and all these different things. And with the spin-off with the DDP, they say they get, the Prime Minister said he felicitated them with the building. They say they're not going in that building. We hear all sorts of things, right? It have a lawyer who was a former senator, sitting in our parliament, going to talk about laws governing this country. And a judgment was passed down on him for representing dead people. Read the judgment against the Chief Justice, the judgment against former Senator, I can't remember his name. It starts with a D. I can't remember his name. It will come to me just now. And also, he was referred to the Law Association, to the Disciplinary Committee. Did they deal with that, Senator Ramdeen? Did they deal with that? Huh? Just as how we see a former not deputy political leader of a party, where they had to put into our escrow account $775,000 for people money collecting for rent, and say for them to the TTPS investigate, and for the Law Association to take action against them. Then after I just asked for myself, I listen, Chief Justice versus the Law Association, where a judge asks the lawyer that representing the Law Association, what is the public perception? I was in the courthouse because I pay a great interest in that case, because they went after the third highest office of the land, the Chief Justice, to remove him. They call on the Prime Minister to trigger off Section 137 to remove. It started off with a reporter in the Express, then the same Gerard Ramdeen went on attack with them, and then after we see it step down to the opposition leader calling on the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister now had to hire expert to give him advice, right, on the law. And the Chief Justice now had to fought all the way to the Privy Council to get his name clear. And the same Chief Justice, when they call on him, when they call to trigger up Section 122, when the judge asked, Justice Nadia Kangaloo asked, what is the public perception of the Law Association? Up to today, we haven't heard that answer coming from the lawyer that representing the Chief Justice, that we're not representing the Chief Justice, representing the Law Association. So what you think of what's going on in this country?
Yeah.
Right? What you think? So I just sometimes ask myself, if the Law Association is really an independent body,
yes,
right? Because what we see coming out of it, up to now, then deal with the disciplinary committee, because being here, Ramdeen have been called to the disciplinary committee so that to deal with that. But the judgment passed on them and not that.
And pasting.
Yeah, so when we hearing these kind of things, what do you expect?
But when we almost a wrap, and I can't let you leave without asking a question. Do you think Yassin Abubakar should have been jailed?
If you ask him a question, it's an obvious question. Huh? They didn't listen to what the Lord said. He should not have been a free man.
Right.
The Privy Council. And because of the time, they could not have locked him back up. The enemy.
Right.
Right. So you shouldn't ask me that question. Right. That is an obvious yes. 24 persons was murdered.
Right.
I saw a woman bleed to death, drag in front of me, That is up to today. You raise that. You don't know emotion. How does that affect me? You should not. But yes, answer your question. Yes, yes. And this year, I remember when I finished my walk. From my walk, I left Port of Spain to rent a week-laying ceremony in Moruga by the graveside of Solomon, who was the first police officer was murdered. Young guy just came out from a recruit. And they invite me up there. And his mother up to today, Lauren Cabaret's daughter said she meet me every July the 27th. Just come with me there. Her brother, a day I was fasting in front of the warehouse, came and asked me who killed his mother. I turned to him and I tell him, ask Abu Bakr. And that time Abu Bakr was alive. Abu Bakr was alive that day. And that's why I said, we should not have a reclaim ceremony without the whole public knowing. And inviting the family who lost their loved one and the hostages who are alive. It shouldn't be a reclaim ceremony for only the president. Right? It shouldn't be a reclaim ceremony for a selected few. It was an attack on our country democracy. Chapter 11 said how that day should be treated. And I heard the Prime Minister make certain statement, and I'm glad to know that something is going to happen. After 33 years, I'm glad to know something is going to happen. So it was a sad day, and when I put back the clip and all these different things, and red and bloody, because July the 27th was a bloody day, dead and bloody, right? She said now it's dead and bloody. We sleep through the night of blood. When they released me and I coming down the stairways of the parliament, blood and people body lying down on the step, dead. Right? And then you want to tell people about stand your grounds. Who she was really talking to, and pull back the matic, pull back the clip. Then after we see people start to sing songs. On social until someone just before the election, they see they do a video. And they take Black Stallion song. Right? And I think it was Peter or something, or Fire, one of the two.
Fire.
Right. And such a nice song with a message. But them want to say it. And after when she first make the statement, they saw her, they said they had a picture of the Prime Minister, and it was a target. You remember that on social media? I said, then she talked about the security details. This is the same Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, who is opposition leader now, told Trinidad and Tobago, right, that she received information as head of the Security Council that there was a hit on her head. And she increased her security details. Remember? And then after we know about the helicopter too, we should take her from one point to another point. Right? And then if you want to expose the Prime Minister's security details, I want to show that on a platform, then what else? Who else should we expose? The Attorney General, the Chief Justice? So what should that say? She's not giving them targets? So is this that she want to say that we should have another 1990? Because the people who came to the parliament, they had a plan. They had the layout of the parliament. They know where to go. They know what room they was taking me into. And when I had to open the window, people coming in. Inside. Because they had the people's position in certain areas, right? And that people was working with them. So when she exposed the Prime Minister details, security details and the Prime Minister, is it that she going to tell them where to go, how to attack, when you leaving? So these are the questions they have to ask, right? And then after she went and said the red and ready and now they're dead and bloody. We had a dead and bloody on July the 27th, 1990. We mustn't forget that.
Folks, unfortunately, we are out of time, not out of things to say. So I'm dubbing tonight Wendell Eversley Part 1. All right? So Wendell is going to be back as a future co-host because he has a lot to tell us, a lot to share, and 2 hours certainly is not enough. All right? So Wendell, thank you so much for coming this evening. Yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you. And as I said, we will have him back in the very near future. So join us again tomorrow. Tomorrow's guest isn't yet confirmed, so we will see how that one plays out. But until then, enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you for being a wonderful audience. For those of you on Facebook as well, taking us in on social media, thank you so much for the comments, for engaging the program. And we hope to be able to bring you another engaging one tomorrow and Thursday. All right? So that's it for us this evening. Thank you so much, and we will chat again tomorrow.
The following is an independent paid production. The views and opinions expressed are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not represent the opinions of Synergy Entertainment Television Limited. Synergy Entertainment Television Limited does not warrant or guarantee the accuracy, adequacy, quality, validity, completeness, or suitability of any information for any purpose. In no event shall Synergy Entertainment Television Limited be held liable for any inaccuracies, errors, or omissions with respect to the information in the transmission or any part thereof, or for any damage arising therefrom. The entire risk and the accuracy, adequacy, completeness, validity, and quality of any information is within the show's producer. In no event will Synergy Entertainment Television Limited, its heirs, or assigns be liable to any party for any direct, indirect, special, punitive, or consequential damages or